Ahoy, AEA members! I'd like to present to you some slides to offer AEA's insight on how the district spends its money. All of this data was pulled from the district's own budget reports and eddata.org. Our first slide here is expenditure per ADA, which is the total expenditures divided by the number of students. The districts on the slide are those that are similar in size to Alameda. This slide shows that the money we spend per student is slightly above county average, as has been true for several years now. So, AUSD spends about the same amount per pupil as our surrounding districts, but our surrounding districts are spending that money on their teachers. For example, Dublin spends $2,000 less per student than Alameda, yet they pay their teachers significantly more. Castro Valley spends $1,500 less per pupil. They offer similar benefits to Alameda, and their beginning teachers make $3,500 more per year, while their teachers who are past Step 20 make $12,000 more per year. Alameda can't say it doesn't have money to spend. It does. It just isn't prioritizing it on attracting and retaining teachers. This chart shows us what percentage of AUSD's budget is being spent on everyone's salaries and benefit in comparison to other districts in Alameda County. You will notice that AUSD does not spend as much on salaries. The trouble is they do not see employees as a spending priority and choose to spend in other ways. AUSD needs to prioritize its educators. This chart shows us what percentage of AUSD's budget is spent on educators' salaries over the course of the last 10 years. You will notice that the trend is downwards. Every year the district is making a diminishing effort to compensate teachers. When the district budgets, they start 3 years beforehand and make projections. When they first made the budget for the year, 2017-18, revenues were projected to be $99 million. But the next year, the revenues were projected to be $104 million. And the next year, they were projected to be $107 million. When the 2017-18 revenues were finally tallied, the total was $111.6 million. We see that the district consistently underestimates how much money they will receive. This is the reason they never offer us anything at the table. They say they don't have money, but they do. Their offers are based on extremely conservative projections. As you can see, year after year, the difference between what the June projections for revenues are and what the unaudited actuals are is on average 4.7% greater. That means each year the district has several million more dollars to spend than it anticipates. Why isn't that money put toward teacher salary, given that the district's goal is to bring us up to the county average? This slide is a breakdown of the district's 1.5% offer. Despite a significant increase in revenue, the district is offering teachers $774,000 in the 2019-20 school year. This slide shows 4 things: the total FTE for the last 2 school years, the total amount of money spent on those FTE, the projected revenue for each school year, and what percentage that revenue teachers' pay represents. This reveals 3 critical facts. The actual dollar amount spent on teachers barely increased, even though we were given a 5% raise. Number 2, that the percentage spent on teachers dropped from 40.6% of the budget to 39.4% of the budget. Number 3, that revenue increased by at least $5 million in the 2018-19 school year. Last June, the projected revenues were $114 million, but by March it had increased to $116.6. If previous patterns hold true, and there ends up being a 4.7% difference between the June budget and the actuals, then the district is likely to receive $120 million in revenues. At this point, we know for certain that the district is receiving $5 million more this year than last year. Yet their expenditure on teachers increased by only $600,000. Their offer for the 2019-2020 school year is 1.5%, which is worth $774,000. So the question is, how is the new revenue being spent, and how are those spending decisions being made? It's obviously not being spent on us. So here is the timeline we are following. AEA has declared our intent to file impasse, and the district has agreed. AEA will wait until the school year resumes in the fall before officially declaring impasse with PERB, the Public Employment Relations Board, in order for this process to begin at the appropriate time. Then mediation begins within 5 working days. If the mediator is not able to bring the two sides together, we enter fact-finding. Within 10 days, a fact-finding panel of at least 3 people must be formed. Within 30 days, the panel will issue a written opinion on the matter. AUSD must make those findings available within 10 days. After that fact-finding phase is completed, if no agreement is reached, AUSD will impose its last, best, and final offer. Once those findings have been made available, it is legal for AEA to go on strike. So what can you do? The 3 key words are educate, agitate, and organize. We must educate people. That includes other AEA members, parents of students, and other members of the community. We can do this by sharing data, sharing this screencast, and sharing your own personal experiences in the school district. The next step is to agitate. Our work touches the lives of every person in Alameda. Therefore, every person in Alameda is invested in our struggle. We need to help folks to understand that. Explain to them why AUSD's struggle to retain and attract teachers is harmful for students in the community at large. When positions are not filled and teachers can't settle in the community, students struggle to receive the education they deserve. And the final step is to organize. Once those folks are invested, educated, and agitated, we need to help them find something to do to support teachers, whether that is speaking at Board of Education meetings, educating and agitating others themselves, being ready to be called upon if they are needed, and most importantly, providing moral support for our cause. Thank you for your attention. Solidarity forever.